Hello, this is Supercoach Challenges and welcome back to my channel. As you can see, not the greatest score for the first week. Ranked top 81%. Think, looking at the team this week, there were some bright spots, but there were also some low spots. A lot of low spots, obviously, to get a score like this. I mean, we weren't expecting to get real high scores, not yet anyway, and I think it's going to be a little bit more fun trying to pull back the ranking. I know my actual classic team, there's not much difference between being 20,000 and in the top 200. I think if I changed 3 players in my team, would have been top 200, but I guess that's just a bit of the luck, and that's all that happens with Supercoach. So that's enough of that. Looking at the team, so we obviously know the rules with this. There's only 400,000 priced players, and 1594. While it's not obviously an amazing score, I think with a few small changes, this can be a lot better. Obviously, we'd like to have scored, another. I think if we got 1800, it would have been really nice. And we weren't actually too far off that. We're only like 200 points off that. And that can be fixed with a few little things because, as you'll see, there were a few mistakes made, but hopefully we can fix these in the next week before the first price rises in round 3. So that's the first bad round. We got 2 more rounds after that. We're 700 points off top, which we're not ever going to catch up, but I think we can get. I think if we make some good decisions, we might be able to get a little bit closer. And if this is worst case, I think there's a lot of improvement that can be had. So let's go to the team. So just to remind everyone, so I think I'm going to do a bit of a 3-2-1 for this with the voting, and we'll see what we end up with at the end of the year. Maybe I'll do a 3-2-1 with a negative 3-2-1 as well. We'll just do a positive 3-2-1 because they're the team players that are going to stay. So after the first game, I thought, well, this is looking all right, Wiedering's outscored Doherty, who was a very high-owned pick, and, Hopper didn't go great. Maybe we could have looked to change this team up a little bit more than what we did, but that's what happens. I mean, like a lot of people are probably looking to jump off Hopper now, so he's kind of becoming a little bit more of a pod. If we look down below, it's only 3.6%, 11% off 5. I'm going to give 5 another week. But what we'll do, we'll talk about defenders first, and then we'll go through the team. So, yeah, Wiedering, amazing, as we saw on the Saturday, when I put up the video on Saturday, just before we finalised the team for the rest of the week. Wiedering has gone huge, 120, looked really good. But from there, it was kind of a bit downhill. So Hinge, he actually was going a lot worse than 57, and I'm surprised he got to there because a lot of his points from what I watched came in the second half, which maybe makes sense because that was when the ball was kind of down there a bit more. But I think Hinge made a few turnovers that can probably be fixed and help his scoring. And he was still getting quite a bit of the ball. He was still kind of playing as a rebound defender as such, and up onto the wing. But he just couldn't get any of the ball. And when he did, he was just spraying some kicks. There was one turnover in, I think, the second quarter where he tried to stab it into the middle, and it got picked off. But he came up and got to the next contest and was... I think he was able to stop it, or maybe they kicked a goal from there. I can't remember. That Crows game I kind of put to the back of my mind after that second half domination. But anyway, next was Will Day. So from what I heard, it's the same kind of issue. He had quite a bit of the ball, but yeah, his disposal let him down. So if we have a look, let's go to DFS. So if we have a look at this, I don't want to look at preseason though. I want to look at stats by rounds. Yeah, boys, I'll buy a coffee once I've done this. So if we go stats by round, oh my god, thank you. We look at the Supercoach score. So fourth one. Do they give you stats in here? Maybe not. So he did have 22 disposals. His efficiency was actually at 73%, so that's not too bad. But and his freeze fall were quite good. But by the looks, the rest of his game was kind of a little bit bob. But Day has been ruined by injury the past few years, so I think we can give him a little bit of time to warm up to the role. Yeah, and hopefully get to where he needs to. That's going to be a better. It's going to be a better stats for. What can we use Footy Bar? I guess. Yeah, so it's probably going to be the better one. Yeah, so it wasn't great. 22 disposals is a good sign. 7 inside 50s. They were at a losing team. I mean, his fantasy score was quite good. His just Supercoach score didn't reflect that, which happens when you're getting belted by so many goals. It doesn't help the team. So I think, while not great start, I think that's good signs. Ben Long, kind of the same as Will Day, didn't have a great start. I think he did have quite a few kickouts. If we look at kickouts here, so he's even down on kickouts. So that's actually not as bad as I thought it was, because what we'd be hoping is Long does take over some of these, but if it means that we can see somewhere there's an improvement. If he was going like at Constables 6 kick in 6 play ons, we would be a bit more worried. Maybe that means he doesn't have the role, but I think we're going to stick with him for another week. I think there's bigger issues in the team. Hunter Clark, I think he had a lot of the ball as well. Disposal wasn't great. They did win, which is also another bad thing. But other than that, I think we just stick with him. Jimby, great game. First game, and he's put straight into the midfield. Another losing player, but did really well. You love an 85 from 170k player. He's outscored 1, 2, 3, 4. It would be nice to have Connor McKenna. He obviously went for 90 at 150k less than these guys, and maybe that's something we look at for future teams we build with this. Maybe we just we look at those guys with a lower price and actually maybe look at the role a little bit more, because I think Constable and Chesser are both in danger of losing their spot, which isn't great. And yeah, Chesser didn't look good at all. It was outplayed by pretty much every other rookie there, but West Coast are rebuilding and they are looking to get a few more players through the team. So, they're trying to get some games into the younger players in the team. So I think we stick with him, and if he gets dropped, maybe then we change into a McKenna. But if he plays, I think we keep him for now. We could go aggressive and get McKenna, but do I want to use trades like that? I'm not sure. We've got 1.4 million here ready to stack into premiums for 4 or 5 rounds ongoing. I guess it's going to be looking into, whether it's going to be worth it, whether what our trades might look like, because yeah, we're going to have the issue of running out of trades. So in the midfield, we VC'd Hopper against Carlton. Looks like he's got an absolutely horrid role for now. So he doesn't look like someone we can really VC. So we won't be making that mistake again. Now Hunter, I thought was going to be maybe the best of the worst case, but it looks like he was actually the second lowest scorer in my midfield. I could have picked pretty much anyone else and scored better. So I mean, you take some positives, but yeah, obviously that really hurt. Like, we have Setterfield there, we get an extra 100 points and puts us a lot further up in the ranks. But you know, that's going to be one of the hard things for this team, picking that captain. Hopefully we can get a VC that works, rather than getting the 67 from Hopper and just hoping for something better from the next guy who plays. I wish I'd hit Wiedering. I mean, it would have helped a lot. That's an extra 140 points. And you know, that's the difference between scoring 1800 and probably and the high 15s. So, and probably you would have to say at least 30,000 spots in rank. But still a long way to go. It's only early, and I think it's going to be fun trying to catch this up. I think that's the point of this. The point of this isn't to be number one. It's just kind of something different, and trying to work our way through that. So Kerno got a tagging job. I think we keep him. I think that although he got the tagging job last week, there's going to be some games where he goes off. And I think that we give him a go. Give him another week at least. Setterfield, now he looked like he was going to have a shocker, and then he went absolutely ham in the last half. So it's great to see him at 99. And he's probably a VC choice going forward. Lockie Ash, another one who underperformed. The good news is GWS had quite a few injuries last round, which might open up some time for him to play in the midfield or even potentially a rebounding role. I can't see them looking to play Ash now as a tag. It just doesn't seem like it's worth it. I think he's going to be able to get some midfield time, hopefully. And they play West Coast this week, which means probably big scores for Canelio and Green. But hopefully Ash can also get it close to 100. That would be very nice. Hopper, as we said, probably just a bit slow. First game back. He hasn't played for a while properly, so we'll let Hopper have that one. And you know, if guys want to jump off him, maybe become a bit of a pod for us against them, and hopefully he starts to go well. He's playing the Crows this week. They don't sit on mids that well, so we'll give Hopper another week. Warple, great score. Probably the one I had the least belief in this midfield, I'd say. We know what Warple's like, and has been, but he hasn't shown that over the past 2 years. Maybe with Mitchell and O'Meara leaving, that's kind of made it a bit easier for him. But I'm still pretty surprised that he got a 97. He actually had the highest CBAs for Hawthorn, which is also good. Can he keep that up? That's probably the question. I'm not sure. I think there are definitely going to be some down games, but we'll take this eye game and take the score with it. If we look at his CBAs, 77%. He's the highest in the team, even higher than Newcomb, which is a little bit surprising. So we'll take that, and we'll take that as the role that we want. I think Day had 26%, so I guess there's a little bit of movement for increase, but I think McKenzie and Newcomb and Warple are going to be those top players. And imagine if McKenzie could get more than 52%, that would be amazing. Now, Ashcroft, I don't like playing him on the bench, but at the moment, I think that Wangani Miller actually had the most kickouts. He just didn't play on. most kickouts at St Kilda, but he didn't play on from them. I think he played on 2 out of 6. So, if he plays on a few more of those, he gets a bit more run going, gets some longer kicks going. This probably turns into a 80, 70 to 80. And that's probably good enough for the first couple of weeks. Now, as with so Ashcroft was actually on field. So we actually lost 38 points playing Mackenzie. Well, even more if we count like Wangan and Malira. But, it's kind of a guessing game with those two. Brisbane have another hard matchup with Melbourne. So I'm thinking maybe we give Will a bit of a rest this week and we let Mackenzie have a go. He is playing Sydney, though, which could actually be a bad matchup. So maybe we have to have a look and see what some other midfielders have kind of gone against Sydney. But at the same time, they'll probably Sydney are running a youngish midfield other than probably Parker. So maybe they won't be looking to tag. But they do have a few players who could tag. So that's something we need to be wary of. Now, we look at the rocks. Draper. So anyone who put them in their actual classic team would be quite disappointed with this, but for us, the 73 is great. The real sad one here is Tristan Xerri. That's just a bit painful. He was on 35 in about in the first quarter. If he'd been able to get through that, we probably lost, let's say, 70 points worst case. No, 60 points worst case. I reckon he would have gone 100 plus. He was just looking absolutely unstoppable, and now he's got syndesmosis, and he's going to be stuck on our bench. And I don't know who to put in rucks. There's one clear choice, and I think we go that because I don't think we want to. Well, anyone's going to be a downgrade from Xerri at this price. Now the question is, do I keep him and do I upgrade Matt? Because Xerri's going to be a loophole, and then we make money off another player, and then if Xerri comes back in a couple of weeks, I don't know, has it been reported how long the injury is? I'd suggest it's going to be 6 to 7, but is this updated? Yeah, looks like it. Tom Stewart's at the top. So here it is. So this George Wardlaw, I actually heard Diesel talking about him on the radio today, and they said he looks like an absolute jet. Well, he said he was the best player he's ever played against, and that's something to say when you've got a guy who just had 33 on debut, saying that was one of the best players he's ever played against as a junior. So should be some interesting things to come from George Wardlaw. And we'll set a plan for return in the coming days for Xerri. So still TBC. So the decision on this is probably going to be based on how long that is. The decision is going to be here whether we go Xerri to like a Radagalier. I think that's the only choice we really have. We'll look at trades in a minute. We'll keep going through the team. So Fogarty, what a decision that was. What a bad decision it was. Go with the Crows player. I said, he looked good. And then Cozzy Pickett goes and scores 144. And I was looking at the scores as I watched the Melbourne game, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. I couldn't believe that Cozzy was doing what he was doing. I could believe it, but I just didn't think he'd do it against the Dogs. Like, the Dogs have got, I guess, maybe not as deep a midfield as they have previously, but I didn't think it would be a guy like Isaiah Pickett who would be scoring the 140 plus. I thought it was probably going to be Clary. Gorn did go 140, but you wouldn't think the small forward would be the one to do it. I'm actually interested to see what his CBAs were. He did this off 24% CBAs, and if we look at his stats, Ron Pickett, he was, yeah, we missed out on the fourth highest scoring. And funny enough, the third highest scorer was Dane Rampy, who was also under 400k. But I don't see how he's like has Rampy ever really shown historically being able to go like that? No, he went 60 last year. He has a 290s. That's fair. You could probably pick off that. But and these actually aren't too bad through here. So maybe we should have gone for a Dane Rampy or at least had him in the calculations. But if you go off last year, and I don't really think that was going to change that much, like his role. Yeah, you probably wouldn't have taken him last year in his first three, he went 52, 58, 67. Sydney did play Gold Coast, and he went 52 last time he played against Gold Coast, which is his lowest score. Oh no, he had a 34 against the Power. So I don't know, one of those decisions. But if we look at Pickett's game, so 15-4, so 19 disposals, 8 tackles is big, 4 goals, 1. So could have been, and he had 4 frees against, and he still got 144. God, I'd like to know how does this calculate? What was his disposal efficiency? Like, that stat line giving it a 144. Goal assists. He had 2 goal assists, only 1 inside 53 clearances. So when he was in the midfield, it looks like he had 5 clangers and he gets a 144 from a 19 disposal game. Someone tell me how that works. Must be a lot of 1%ers in there. I guess contract status. That's an interesting one. So as we said, the contract year normally brings us out of players, but a 144 off that with 4 frees against. Oh, meanwhile, Josh Kelly had 6 disposals in about 4 minutes against the Crows, or 5 minutes against the Crows, and he was on a 8. I mean, it's a good kick to handball ratio, I guess, but I think that's an outlier. Anyway, the sugar coat for that is the fact that he's out for a few weeks because of the bump, which could be more, but we won't go into that. Now, Xerri-ble and Horne-Francis. So Xerri-ble, back to the Xerri-ble of 2 years ago by the looks, just kickouts and, he actually didn't get that many. Well, he did, but not as many as he was getting those years. Sheasel had second most with 3. So for Xerri-ble to go 100 and, with actually decent kicking is something to be happy about. Horne-Francis just came out and absolutely shredded the Lions. At 136, he went from, 50 at halftime, I think, to 136. So it's good to see him playing to his potential. And hopefully we get some more of that because he is a bit of a pod. I reckon he's only in let's have a look. He's in 16% now, but I bet that wasn't the same. Yeah, 14% traded in. So he was in 2% teams last week. But that's how the game goes. And you know what? If Horne-Francis goes bad now, at least we've got a little bit of coverage there. Nat Fyfe, this is 11% down. And he's still in 44% of teams. I can't believe he was in 55% of teams. I mean, maybe we should have thought through that. Well, I should have thought through that pick a little bit more. Maybe taken it as a bit of a counterpod because, and you know what? I just don't like it. I don't think it's getting any better. And I think if it wasn't for the Xerri injury, I'd trade him out. But maybe that's the first forward line upgrade. Anna Bruin was actually scoring very well. And then he had a lot of time on the bench and just got stopped getting put in the centre. And he got played in the wing the whole last quarter and Geelong got belted. So go figure, Geelong premiers, you can't really argue them too much, but you'd think they'd be looking at Dane June, Guthrie and going, hey boys, let's play a bit more forward and let's get some of these young guys going through there. The injury to Stewart means Bose is going to come in and he could have an unreal role for a 270k player. But that's still to be confirmed how long that's going to be. I believe they think it could be 4 to 5 weeks for Stewart, but that's still plenty of times for Bose. So hopefully Bruin gets a little bit more run time. Tom Power, he actually had a very good game, I think. I think he got burnt a couple of times with disposal of his teammates, handballing at his feet. And I think that he actually warmed pretty well to the game as he got into it. And I think he had 24 or so disposals, which is like something you like to see. I think he's got improvement there. I think he will get more midfield time as we go. And, you know, I think this can only get better. So Flanders had a really bad roll, and 2 goals have dragged this score up. This had been Xerri-ble. The thing is, I got the North game up, and I started watching just as it was about to go, and I hadn't seen them talking about Xerri-ble being played off the back line. And if I did, I would have quickly done the swap. And even like we had Henry here, and Liam Henry went for 86, which looks like a great pick for my classic team, for my actual classic team. But for this, a big miss. I don't know why. I was big on Henry the whole season, and you know what, this could flip next round, but those be the breaks. And I think we're just gonna have to keep going. Just think there's no point. But I think the forward line is probably the least of our issues other than Fife. Like if we can't really swap anything there, but you know, I think that, you know, Fogarty gets up the ground a little bit more. It looks like he was playing a little bit out of the deep forward, which is kind of a little bit annoying. I would hope that maybe X plays that more, or if they get Philthorpe, he gets that. But, you know, next week against Richmond at the Adelaide Oval, like here comes their run of 5 or so games at the Adelaide Oval. So hopefully Fog goes for a big couple of rounds. But, man, it'd be nice to have Rankin or Rochelle in this spot because they're both looking like they're getting a few CBAs this year, and it looks like the Crows are going to keep mixing up. If you have a look at the CBA statistics for the Crows, it's pretty interesting. There's Laird, then there's Barry, who both had shockers, and then outside of that, it was such a mix. Barry had 71, Laird had 71, and then no one over 40. Saligo looked really good. Didn't really notice Schoenberg. Rochelle looked good in there. Ranking got a bit, so I think they're going to keep mixing this up, and hopefully they get some more of, Rochelle and Rankin in there because they're absolute jets, but we'll see what happens. So let's have a chat about what we think we might do for trades to start. So we've got Xerri, and we got to filter this down. So I'm in 2 minds. So Bailey Williams actually a good game, and I don't know how long Nick Nat's out. Let's have a look at the injury list. Sorry. Talking everything out loud, but anyway. Nick Nat's to be confirmed. Trained only briefly and away from the main group on Tuesday. That sounds like he could play. Possibly. I mean, he's still trained away. Cox had a 69. Yeah. That hurts so much. Xerri looks so good. And now we're stuck with choosing out of Bailey Williams, who's a horrible, and going up against probably Bruce. Xerri-ble, who, we'll be getting a lot more game time now. His job security is safe. And, you know, if he takes that short role, it could be very good, but it doesn't look like a natural there. And I'd nearly kind of just rather trading Madden. And then we could always downgrade Xerri later. We keep Xerri and we trade this. I mean, the money looks better if we do Xerri. But I guess the question is, do we want to trade Xerri, or do we want to trade Radical? Trade Xerri and get the money, or trade See, the thing is, if Xerri comes back later this year, he could be a good ruck if we can't get a second ruck here, which is what kind of attracts me to keep him. I think we'll keep Xerri for now. He's a decent loot for this week, I think. Let's have a look at when they play. AFL. No, he's a crap loot for this week, which changed my mind. What's he after that, though? How are North getting these early games, man? Like the Crows. The Crows get a Thursday night game. They do slowly start to go back, but they're still pretty crappy throughout, whereas GWS have quite late games. If I keep Xerri... Okay, I think this is going to be dependent on whether we lose another player. If Chester doesn't play, the West Coast is good. Very good. Hard decision to make. I can't believe North are getting such early games in the week. Saturday afternoon games. I guess that's when everyone's playing footy, but not this early in the year. Wait. Okay, North actually don't have that bad a game for round 2, sorry. They have... Because we only have to get to round 3. Oh, wait. Round 3 they don't play till Saturday either, which means we get 2 games, which are Brisbane, who we have no players for, Bulldogs, who we have no players for, Collingwood, who we have no players for, and Richmond, who we have 1 player for. So, yeah, that next round's going to be hard. But this week they play Saturday night, which gives us a lot of games. So it's doable this week. And in that case, I think this will be the trade for now. So we're going to go with the emergency and Captain Xerri. Now, looking at what we're going to do... Oh, it's here, actually. Looking at what we're going to do... Yeah, this is just a horrible time for us to loot. Because we just don't have anyone. As I said, we only have to get to past round 3 and then we can trade Xerri-ble, I guess, or Xerri could go up. I guess it's going to be looking at the ruck situation. You know, if Xerri-ble starts getting 80s, we can just keep Xerri on the bench. Because what's the loot like after that? That's round 4's horrible. Collingwood, Brisbane. Why they're getting a lot of early games go as well. Maybe we get Neil that first one, or Dunkley. Dunkley actually, we can VC Dunkley, which is good. Or even actually, we could go DeGoey. DeGoey, if we know DeGoey's going well but around 4, he's probably good to keep, I'd say. I don't like that. I don't want to risk on that. I want to get proper premiums. But he's only 400. Bit of planning here. The goalie's not even a captain option though. I don't really think we want to be going for that. So I think for now we'll keep this. So as for captains this week, so we've got for our VC option. So I was going to go maybe Wiedering as something different, but he's got Geelong, which I can't see being an easy matchup. He's going to probably be playing on Jeremy Cameron, which I would feel would mean he was not going to get as much runoff as he did against the Richmond I mean, Richmond do have 2 good key forwards, so I could still go. I could be swayed to go him anyway. Melbourne, I'm going to leave alone. So by Hunter. Now, Adelaide v Richmond. So we got Hinge of Fogarty or Hopper, which I don't like any of the choices for. And then St Kilda v the Dogs. And really, what I'd be liking to do is VC Xerri-ble and so on, but I'm not going to be able to. They are Fremantle. Who's got a good matchup? Port v Collingwood is actually not too bad. So maybe we have VC on Francis. And that's like based off this, who's out. If we go list, can I get this by average? Okay, this is a bit nice to look at. So Hawthorn have Sydney, which I want to stay away from. Essendon have Gold Coast, which would actually be quite good. Maybe I'll go Setterfield as the captain option. Yeah, I think that's what we do. I think we go Horne-Francis just based on last week. Horne-Francis, he's never really been good against Geelong either. So I think we'll keep Wiedering. Historically scores low. And if they lose, it's probable as well. I think Port v Collingwood will be a very close game. And I think if Horne-Francis goes as good as he did last week, it could be another big score. So I think we'll put the VC on Horne-Francis for now, and we'll captain Setterfield, who's playing Gold Coast, and hopefully he should at least be able to go what he did last week. Because if he can do that, we're getting an extra 100 points there, and that could be very big for our rankings. So yeah, if we can get a butt below the 100k by round 3, that would be great. And I think it will go a long way to setting the stage for us for the rest of the year. So anyway, that's the start. We knew this was going to be hard. We knew it wasn't going to be a walk in the park, but you know what? Something fun, something different. And let's see what we can see. Let's see what we can do from here. I mean, we've hit a couple. There's a lot we did miss on. Like if we had Sheasel, if we had Henry, if we had guys like that, our Kasai Pickett, our team would be in a lot better position. But we missed those guys. We had the Xerri injury, and that's just the luck of Supercoach sometimes. So, but yeah, I reckon we can get top 50k. All right, there's still a chance. We get the premium upgrades right. We're gonna be a few behind, but I have a feeling that Horne-Francis, Xerri-ble, and those two are definitely probably going to become keepers based on that. And I think teams are going to have them. And then guys like Jinby, Hopper, who else have we got? Probably Fife, Bruin, are going to be stuck around in teams for a while. So maybe we keep those guys and we build around the others that are a bit more potty in the team. And maybe we have a look at our Wits or our Gorn and see what their next matchups are like, and we can get Xerri up to one of them. But it's going to be an interesting year, so I'd follow along. If you have watched the rest of this video, maybe have a look and give us a comment and see what you think you'd do. I mean, this is going to be something different. We're not supposed to win the whole thing. I think it's going to be good to see where we can get from here with something that's different, because everyone's picking their 13 primos and are going to be a lot the same by the end, and you never know, like Wiedering could be a player that is a keeper, and we have him at the start, so something different. Horne-Francis definitely was. He was 2% owned, 4% owned, and now he's up to 12. So, that's a pick we haven't had to trade into, which is good. And, a lot of these players could turn it around in a week. Hopper could go 100. Kerno could go 80, 90. A lot of these players, first round is a bit hard. Some players don't come out the best they can. I'm sure Fife is going to be able to do a little bit more against North this week. We got a good match up there, so let's hope for the best, and let's hope we can get a 1700 score. So with the 3 votes this week, we're going to give it to, because I nearly forgot about this. So we'll go with the first 1 vote, and we'll give that to Xerri-ble. I think we're going to give it to Xerri-ble over Setterfield and Warple, just for the fact that he didn't get injured. And we'll give him his chocolates for that. Wiedering with the 2 for outscoring Doherty. Thank you, Wiedering. Let's give ourselves another round of that. That would be great. And Horn-Francis can have the 3. And we'll keep a track of these leaderboards by the end, and see what we do. So we got a 1 to Xerri-ble, 2 to Wiedering, and 3 to Horn-Francis. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, give us a subscribe, give us a follow, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.